We've seen alleged instigators appear in court today in connection with recent unrest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Fingers have consistently been pointed at social media's role, but as we have seen, even anonymous users of social media can be tracked and identified by experts. Oded Fanunu is a cybersecurity expert with Checkpoint Software and joins us now. Oded, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight. Firstly, what kind of software would be used to track down people that have started, whether it's anonymous accounts or even accounts just for the sake of trolling other people, hoping to never be able to be tracked down?
Okay, so first of all, let's try to understand the fundamental. So while we are using a social network, we actually using a client or application in the mobile or in the browser that connect us to this network. While we are posting, while we are reviewing any data on this social network, our client is always sending some kind of digital, what we call identification or digital fingerprint on everything. This includes our probably location, and this includes our internet address and more stuff that it sits on the social media networks. Now, once there is some kind of activity that is being done on the social media, law authorities have the right to ask the social media companies like Facebook, Google, TikTok, Instagram to get specific information about accounts. And from there, they can start the forensics and the investigation because these networks provide them a lot of information.
Does that count even when one is using a VPN to try and disguise their location?
Yes, so we need to understand that there are like two kind of networks today on the public one. So while we're using the social media, so these are usually public networks that even if you are using VPN or some kind of tools, they will see from where you are sending the identification and the things, not from your source place, but from where the VPN is going out. However, now it's a game that they can start investigating and go further to see what is your exact location. And actually what they can do is actually they can, what we call trying to use some kind of hacking techniques, but this is law enforcement and they have the rights and the option to do that in order to, for example, to penetrate into some kind of suspicious phone that got approval from the courts that you can access, and from there they can start the investigation. However, there is another networks, like networks of end-to-end encryption, which is like the Telegram, WhatsApp, or some kind of darknet application, that there it's very, very hard to identify the users. However, these networks don't have the exposure that they have on the social media networks like Facebook and TikTok. So this is like a trade-off of people that want to provide some kind of fake data or to create some kind of activities on the social media.
What happens when somebody has been posting content that then forms part of a criminal investigation, but they've since deleted that content? Can it be brought up from the owners of the likes of Twitter? Are they able to track down what Kathy has posted since her account has been opened, despite the fact that I've deleted some tweets?
So I'm 20 years on the cybersecurity. I don't familiar with something that you delete and it's like deleted from the internet. There is all the time some kind of reference and backups and some kind of technologies that will bring it up. However, also the social network companies, they have some kind of periods that they are keeping the data for law enforcement or for some kind of regulation that they need to stand. So it's not immediately that if you delete something, it's being deleted from the internet. It's not happening like that.
What should we all be doing with this kind of information, and how should it be guiding the way in which we use social media?
So, to be honest, I think that if you are doing bad things on the social media, you know that you are doing bad things, and it means that there is an option that you will be tracked. But we need to understand that there are also hacking groups and state sponsors that are using the social media to create some kind of a fake news distribution. So this is very important because of the cases that we had in the US election and the Brexit, things that social media were very deeply involved, and it was like some kind of chaos in the messaging. So since then, the vendors, the companies like Facebook and Twitter and Google, they made a lot of efforts to be able to track down on real time on these cases and to terminate it. So we need to understand that this is like a war from good and bad, that always using the social media to distribute some kind of what we call viral data. And sometimes it has a casualties. It's not the first time that we heard about data that is being published on the social media and cause casualties. That was happening also in Brazil and in India. It's happening all over the world, and we need to understand the power of the social media, because when I'm posting something and I'm playing with the algorithm, I can reach to millions of people in just few minutes. This is very powerful tools.
You know, we've often heard about the topics that end up trending sometimes on social media, and how many of them are organic conversations, and how much of that conversation is actually quite coordinated and, you know, coming from wherever it's coming from. It doesn't always have to be bad, but the reality is that it's not just an organic conversation. Do you think that we need to get to a point where the platforms actually tell us when something is trending that, you know, this looks more like a coordinated conversation versus it just being, you know, different members of the community taking an interest in a particular subject?
So this is like excellent question. And basically from technology perspective, yes, they can do that. They can do it easily. However, I think it's like from the business perspective, it will not be good for them to show messages that are like not organic, because, you know, most of the traffic on the social media and most of the business, it's like things that are using a lot of bots, a lot of things that are unorganic in order that you will get your post very viral. This is part of the game. However, since if we are seeing casualties and we're seeing cases, I think that this is like a very good suggestion that we can expect from the social media networks to do that. It's not something that cannot be done.
Oded Vanunu, let me thank you so much for your time. He's the head of Products Vulnerability Research at Checkpoint Software Technology.